there is nothing like the OP1.
Freebie.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Today's patron shout-out goes to Fusion Breaks. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. So yesterday I posted a video kind of poking fun at the OP1's latest price increase to $1,400, and I made a list of 5 alternative purchases that you could make instead of the OP1. I also asked the viewers, all of you, to leave your own lists down in the comment section below of gear that would be an alternative purchase to the OP1 for you, and I got some great lists in there. Gear ranging from pocket operators all the way to a used Nord 88-key workstation. I mean, the variety of gear in the comments was incredible. I had so much fun reading all of them. However, one thing I noticed was quite a few people were saying things like, I'd get this, it's much better than the OP1, or this, it's basically an amped up version of the OP1, or this does everything the OP1 does and more. And that actually inspired me to do a bit more deep diving, so I went to some other OP1 videos on other creators' channels, and I noticed quite a few similar comments. People looking at other pieces of gear and basically claiming that those pieces of gear do everything the OP1 does. And while those pieces of gear might be awesome, they do not do what the OP1 does. And that's because nothing does what the OP1 does. There is not one single piece of electronic music gear that can do what the OP1 does. It is unique. So I've kind of realized that while a lot of people have at least some familiarity with the OP1, even though it's 10 years old, there are still quite a few misconceptions about why so many people either love or hate the OP1, and today I just want to talk about those reasons. Really, it's just one reason: the tape recorder. So to understand what makes the OP1 unique, we need to first realize that it's essentially 2 different devices in one. First, it's a pretty standard groovebox. You've got synthesizers, different engines with different parameters, effects, envelopes, LFOs, that sort of thing. It's also a drum machine. It's a sampler where you can sample both into drum kits as well as melodic slots, and it has a wide variety of sequencers, so you can take those drum kits and those synthesizers and start to turn them into songs. Pretty standard groovebox stuff. However, the other device that the OP1 has within it is a 4-track tape recorder. This is what makes the OP1 unique. This is why there is nothing like the OP1. The tape recorder is how we actually assemble our song. You see, you can go into a drum kit, go into a sequencer, and lay down a sequence. On any other groovebox, that would be it. There would be your drum pattern in that sequence, but not on the OP1. You see, if we actually want to add this drum sequence into our song, we need to go to the tape recorder and actually record it onto one of our tracks. When I do this, the OP1 is not recording MIDI data. It is recording the audio of the drum kit. The sequencer just happens to be playing that audio in time with whatever I have my master tempo set to. Once that audio is recorded, that's it. It's in there. I can chop it up or pick it up and copy it and move it around, but I cannot change it. Let me give you a good example. If I start playing my tape, hold record, and then start my drum pattern, right? I'm going to go turn on my click here. Back to the tape. You can see that little red line indicates where that drum pattern starts. You can hear it's not in time at all. So I'll rewind a little bit. I will pick that up. I will go back to my in point, which yes, we do have in and out points on the tape. Now if I hold record and hold the key to start my drum sequence, it'll actually play in time. And now that's recorded to tape as audio. You have a variety of cut and copy and paste features, like I can cut it after this second measure here, remove the tail end, go back to the beginning, pick it up, put it down several times to extend the length. But that's audio data. That's not MIDI data. This is the key to the OP1. You see, the tape recorder is completely open-ended. It's just that, an audio tape recorder. So if I want to go to a different track and still go back to that drum kit, turn off the sequencer, and finger drum, I can try to play something live on a different track over what we already recorded. Right? That's not quantized because I'm not recording the MIDI data into the tape track. I'm recording audio. It's open-ended. It's audio. This is the key to the entire workflow of the OP1. Now, you might think that working only with audio is a disadvantage, and to some extent, you would be right. See, this really goes against the normal way of making electronic music. This is a very acoustic way of making music because this is essentially just a 4-track tape recorder. And I think that's something that more people need to understand before they buy one of these. I think that's why we see so many used OP1s on the market. I bought mine used, and that's why the person selling it was selling it. That person was not aware that the OP1 really works with audio, not MIDI data. Of course, I can go into a synth engine here. There we go. I can play this live on the tape. Or I can go into the sequencer and sequence something if I want it to be perfectly in time. Either way, it's going to record to the tape as audio. This is different than using something like an audio track on an MPC or Deluge device. This is the only way to make music with the OP1. You get one tape with 4 different tracks, 6 minutes in length. Now, I did mention that the OP1 has a sampler for the drum kits and the synth engines. However, we can also use the inputs for the sampler, the built-in microphone, the line in right there, or the built-in radio, and record that audio straight to a tape track. We don't have to first put it into a synth or drum kit engine. We can go straight to tape with it. That means if I wanted to, I could come up with a whole tape of music, right? And then go into one of the tracks and layer a vocal take in there. But that's not all, because just like you can take audio from samples or synthesizers and record them to the tape, you can also take the audio from the tape and import it into one of your samplers, as long as it's 12 seconds or less. But that's getting into many different things that the OP1 can do. To get the gist of the OP1 audio workflow, just remember, one tape, 6 minutes long, 4 different tracks, and yes, you can overdub. So that extra percussion I put on there, that's on track 2. If I remove it from track 2, go to track 1, go back to the drums, I can now layer over that audio that I recorded. But because we're overdubbing, once I add this second layer, I cannot remove it without removing all of the audio, even the audio that I overdubbed over, okay? The first drum beat I recorded is quantized, but what I just layered over is not, because I played it in live. You can also layer sequences. This actually works really well when we get into the finger sequencer, which allows you to store different sequences on each of the different white keys. And then it actually gives us different ways to switch between those. So we have replace, join, fill in. It gets pretty crazy. But that's how the OP1 works. You record things to tape. It takes your normal groovebox setup and adds an extra step. You actually have to commit stuff to tape once you're done. This makes for a completely different songwriting experience than any other piece of electronic music gear on the market. And that's what this OP1 workflow is really about. Songwriting. Not beat making, not loop making or anything like that, songwriting. Also, while not a unique feature to the OP1, you can plug your OP1 into a computer and take your 4 tracks, the audio of those 4 tracks, and export them into your favorite DAW to further process them. If you want really good examples of this, go watch some of Redmean's recordings, older OP1 videos. He does a really good job of showing what can be done with the OP1. So hopefully I did a decent enough job trying to explain this workflow, because there is nothing else like the OP1. And it's why Teenage Engineering can charge what they do, $1,400 US, and still sell units. It's because it has no single device competitor. You would have to get a groovebox and a separate tape recorder or some kind of recorder to emulate what the OP1 can do. So if this workflow is appealing to you, as of right now, March 11th, 2022, the OP1 is the only device that will give it to you. However, if this workflow does not appeal to you, then do not buy the OP1. It would be a colossal waste of money for you, and as we discussed in yesterday's video, there are a ton of great alternatives that you can get for a fraction of the price. So hopefully I've done at least a decent job of describing what makes the OP1 unique and why nothing else is like it on the market. If you have any questions, please leave them in a comment down below. If you found this video informative or at least entertaining, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.